I know the preseason games can be sloppy, so sometimes steals may not be a direct reflection of your defensive activity. But that second game, you guys have had double-digit steals to the team. Ray Jones has 8 through two games. Are you liking kind of the defensive activity you're showing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first quarter, the putting them in the bonus with 10 minutes or so to go in the quarter was a little much. Right, yeah, exactly. I think we're trying to play more physical. We're doing more physical things. I think the last 2 games against them, as you look at things we've been trying to identify, to your point, deflections and steals, try to be better there, more active with our hands. And like you said, it is the preseason. Teams are trying to find their rhythm, so there's a little bit more carelessness with the ball. But I think we're trying to go to the glass. We're putting our bodies in play. I think that we've been playing, more physical. Again, we didn't shoot it great from the free throw line, but we're getting there more, which is encouraging. So, unfortunately, the turnover part is going to hold us back because outside of that, we're doing a lot of other really positive things.
How much time do you think it takes to kind of make, last year you made the offensive transition, this year you're making the defensive transition. How long do you feel like is kind of a realistic timeline to set when you're making some of those identity changes?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot. I give the players, a lot of credit because they've, really took to trying to play faster last year. I think that a lot of times players say they want to play fast, but they don't realize the conditioning they got to get in. And our guys have done a really good job of getting in shape and coming to camp ready. And then, you try to put our team in situations in practice where they're having to confront those issues, and listen, there's moments and times that we can be better in that area, but I really feel like they're trying to be a more physical team, and especially trying to protect the rim. I think for us offensively, we really got to be physical there because it's not just the defensive end of the floor. Because if we do get, stopped in transition, you saw it, on Tuesday and again tonight. They're a big, strong, physical, athletic team. And they're going to be into your bodies, and you got to be able to move and cut. And I think some of that's where our turnovers are coming from is the physicality because we're just not going to be an isolation team. We're going to have to utilize and help each other to try to move the basketball, share the basketball, and generate shots for each other. And I think when we've done that, we've been pretty good. But you've seen when we've gotten bogged down with the physicality, it usually ends up in a very tough possession for us. So it's just something we have to keep working on and try to strive for more consistency. I really appreciated what they did running last year. I always feel you can be better, right? So I don't know if there's an actual answer to when that's going to all take hold, but I think the things that we've been trying to do in camp, we've been trying to play that way.
Not that it matters that much with Vucevic didn't play, Kobe Worth didn't play. But I wanted to ask this because I guess wrong for change. So I thought, wow, Giddy's going to start at point guard. The big guy who's going to start Iowa with him. He started Trey Jones. So what was your thinking about that?
Just the full court pickups, against him and having only one ball handler out there. And I think it's hard for Josh or any guard. And I think we're going to see more of that, and that's why I was mentioning before the game about, having against teams where we're going to have to look to change starting lineups. I think we're going to need 2 handling guards out there at times because we get slowed down when we don't have 2 handling guards. We get slowed down. We get picked up full court. And I think going that way would really put an enormous amount of heavy load on Josh, especially if he's being denied back there, double teamed on made baskets, who's bringing the ball up, how are we flowing into offense. So the feeling was, with Trey, they try to take away Josh, we can get it to him, and we can get up the floor, and we've got, some ball handling, at least create some force momentum coming down the court.
I noticed you kept putting Jones back in there,
Yeah, it was more to have another handling guard, out there.
Every time something was going on, you're throwing back in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things our guys are going to have to, it's just kind of the way it is. I think the days of guys playing, quote unquote, the whole quarter or 10 or 11 minutes consecutive with the way we're playing, I don't think that's physically possible. And these guys are expending a lot of energy. I think they're playing really hard and they're competing. You're going to get tired, when you're competing on both ends like that. Sometimes the more the physical battle of getting over screens or fighting in the post or fighting for rebounds, that sometimes is more exhausting than actually running. So when you have guys out there going 6 or 7 minutes and they're playing on both ends like that, it takes a lot out of them. So I think with Trey and all those guys, I got to do a good enough job of recognizing when they need a blow and getting them out. Because they're never going to say, hey, take me out. So I've got to recognize sometimes, hey, and I just thought a couple times Trey I don't say he looked like he was dragging, but he needed like a blow real quick, and that's why I gave him a quick one and then put him back in.
He looked really like him, and you keep relying on him. But what do you think of Charles?
Yeah, I mean, he's just really, really smart. He's just really, really steady. He's got just makes plays. He just makes, shots he gets off in the lane. You don't think he can get off, shots he can make. He's very, very calm. He's very composed. He's to me, he got incredible winning attributes, to me, in terms of how he is a human being, the way he comes in every day to go to work, the way he treats his teammates, the way he's always got a smile on his face. And then he really, really competes and loves to play. And I think it also does with him, with Kobe being out and then Io and Josh, it's really kind of those three guards. So I, try to shuffle those guys and try to keep at least two of them on the floor in that first half.
Really, it felt like the other night Cleveland was going, either Roby or Jared at Modest, and they didn't go away from Kobe today, but it felt like at times they were trying to put Donovan on him, just have a smaller guy to dig in. And how are you sort of seeing him respond to all the bodies being thrown at him and just the amount of adjustments and the amount of attention now?
For Modest? Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think that was the thing I had said, at media day, is that this is going to be a different experience for him. Like last year, he wasn't guarding Mobley. If he did come in the game early, like the first 50 games, he was going against second unit guys. No disrespect to that, but Mobley's a high level, really, really good player, and these are the things that he's going to have to confront and deal with to make a next step. I think he leans into that stuff, Modest. I think he works at it. I don't think he shies away from it. I think he's competitive. But I think with these new experiences are going to come some ups and downs through it. And I think it'll be an incredible learning and growing experience for him throughout the course of the year, because he's going to see guys like that. And then to your point, how he's being defended and, generating and manufacturing good shots, not only for himself, but, for others.
Does Io play any differently now?
I'm sorry?
Does Io play any differently than he has been played before? Or is it wait, he's going to just
Yeah, I mean, I think every year, Sam, that goes by for these guys, they always get like a little bit more confidence, a little bit more comfortable. They read things. They've been in these situations enough. So there's a confidence, I think, with him. Like I thought the thing I loved that he did tonight was he got downhill, and the times that he didn't have it, he stopped and kind of reverse dribbled and threw it back to the top, got somebody a shot, and were able to work the ball. 2 years ago, he would have been up in the air behind the stanch or trying to throw it back to half court, to be stolen, to be a run-out layup. You go downhill enough and you make decisions enough, you start to learn what you should and should not do. But the one thing I love about Io is he's fearless. He's just fearless there. But he's really, I think from a savviness standpoint, he's really making really, really good reads. Now, he turned the ball over a couple times to start, which didn't help, but I thought in the second half he was really good.
Billy, there was an exchange you had with Modest maybe second or third quarter. What were you coaching him up on? There was some exchange that you had with
when we called timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it. One of the things we had talked in the timeout, and it happened a couple times, is we're jumping through the air trying to block shots, and two things happen on the 3-point line when you do that, especially against experienced players like Hunter or Donovan Mitchell. You're going to foul them, or they're going to shot fake and drive you, and we're going to have to pull across. And the thing about it was, like, it happened twice in a row. Like, he jumped, and then he went back and jumped again, and we've got. It's not just Modest. We've all got to be more disciplined, on that. And I do think that, for Modest, that's, I think I don't say he likes it, but he wants the confrontation piece of it. You know what I mean? And he wants to know what it is he needs to do. And I think when he's not doing those things, calling them out to him is a good thing. Because he generally responds and likes that and wants that. And I think he wants to be coached and wants to be challenged and wants to be pushed. And, I think the question earlier about him having to guard Mobley, and then he's on all these different players. Like, there's a big responsibility there. You just can't, for the sake of the group, everybody's got to be more disciplined. And I'm not just blaming him for the play, but if you look at it, we had a lot of shot fakes and we addressed it. So it was more of a timeout after addressing and talking about it. Modest just happened to be the person that happened to next. You know what I mean? But it was just more me telling him, like, come on, it's twice in a row, like, stay down on the ground.
Billy, you might not have been privy to this, but right after that, Wes had a conversation with him during a long time on it. Modest was, like, locked in, staring. I mean, was Wes following up on that play? Do you know? Or you might not?
I don't know what Wes said, so I don't want to speculate there. But that's the way Modest is. that's the way he is, and I really appreciate and respect that about him. He wants that, like he wants answers to the test to find ways to become a better player, and he's got to understand, when there are things that he's doing that have been talked about, you know what I mean? He's got to be able to follow through on those things too, and I think that's just part of his growth. And I just appreciate that he handles the coaching the way he does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.